Hello, everybody! Welcome to Michael's Wrestling Review, and as you can see in the title below, these will be my top 9 nicest wrestlers I have ever met at Wrestlemania Axxess. I've had the honor to meet, probably 70 or 80 different people during Axxess, and that's not to say all of them weren't very nice, because most of them were. The only two that were dickheads were Alex Riley and Booker T, so fuck both of you. But yeah, these will be my top 9 nicest wrestlers. Like I said, the other ones have all been nice as well. These were just ones who were, I guess I would say, exceptionally nice. But number 9 is Molly Holly. She was shaking hands with everybody, asking where they were from, if they'd ever been to WrestleMania before. And she was actually standing up, which a lot of people didn't do at the autograph tables at Axxess, because, you sit there and you sign. To me, I'd want to stand up, because I wouldn't want to fucking sit for 2 straight hours and just sign my name, take a picture. I'd want to stand up too. But she was very nice, polite. I've always heard how wonderful of a person she is, and she definitely lived up to that. Number 8 was at WrestleMania 35 in New York. Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan. I actually had met Ruby Riott the previous year, and I'd seen Ruby and Sarah both wrestle at a place in Cleveland called AIW. But it was the first time I'd met Liv. Both of them were as nice as could be. I was wearing a Shayna Baszler t-shirt, and they both said how much they liked it, and then we took our picture. Just very, very nice people. Number 7 was in Dallas? No, New Orleans, excuse me. I was in line to meet her in Dallas, was 2 people to get to meet her, and they switched the fucking line. Funny story about how I got to meet her, and it's even funnier now who she's engaged to and just had a kid with. Number 7 is Becky Lynch. But the funny story is, I got my GA ticket, and for some reason it said VIP and had Seth Rollins. I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't really want to meet Seth Rollins, but I'm like, if it was their fuck up, I'd do it. So I get in line to VIP. They give me the wristband. I get into Axxess early. So I run, because somehow it had leaked that Becky was going to be at the Snickers line. I was like 3rd or 4th in line. I get to meet her. She's wonderful. I have a Charlotte shirt on. She compliments my shirt. She signs my figure. I told her about how I was 2 people away from her in line in Dallas, and she just chuckles and thought that, it's nice that I finally got to meet her. It turns out that they were because they knew of the fuck up on the Rollins tickets. So I didn't end up getting to meet Rollins, but I didn't really care. So the way I view it is, their fuck-up allowed me to be able to meet Becky Lynch. So that was okay with me. But yeah, Becky, wonderful. I'd like to meet her again. I wish she had been in the Royal Rumble, but can't have everything. Number 6 was also in New Orleans. It was Breezango, Tyler Breeze, and Fandango. Fandango was wearing some kind of fucking cop outfit. I think it was right when they had started the Fashion Police. And I walked up to it. If you've ever seen Southpaw Regional Wrestling, they both play a huge role. Tyler Breeze is Mr. McElroy, who's obviously supposed to be Vince McMahon. And then Fandango is what is his name? Chet Cheddarfield, because he's always drunk. And it's weird, Southpaw, he was drunk in the first season, and then the second season starts, he's not drunk yet because his girlfriend hasn't broke his heart yet. But I walk up to him and I go, hey, has anyone ever told you look like your character from Southpaw Regional Wrestling, Chet Cheddarfield? He goes, oh, yeah, they've told me that, but that guy's a real dirtbag. And then I just start almost crying, laughing. But he goes, who's really a dirtbag? And Tyler Breeze is signing my little book I have. He goes, who's really a dirtbag is that Mr. McElroy character. And Breeze deadpan looks up in the middle of signing and goes, don't you dare speak ill of the banker. And I start crying, laughing. They couldn't have been more nice. They couldn't have been more polite. I wish I'd been able to go to WrestleMania in Orlando, because they were actually in character as Chet Cheddarfield and Mr. McElroy. The one I really want to meet as their character from Southpaw is Cena, because Cena makes me laugh too. Okay, so number 5 was Rusev. This was in Dallas. I actually didn't meet Rusev at Axxess. I met him at a Walmart across from AT&T Stadium, but I'm still going to count it. That's where I told him, like, if you watch my previous video about my top 9 Mania moments, I talked about how he came out in a fucking tank at WrestleMania 31. I'm like, it's the greatest WrestleMania entrance of all time. It'll never be topped. He goes, of course it is. But him and Lana were both very, very nice. Rusev is one of the biggest missed opportunities WWE has ever had. It's funny how 2 of the biggest missed opportunities they've had in the last 5 years both occurred at WrestleMania 34, with Rusev should have got the U.S. title back and then eventually become WWE champion, and then Nakamura should have won. But yeah, Rusev, so nice, so polite, and I hope I get to meet him now that he's Miro. Not sure I like the best man character, but we'll see how it goes. Number 4 is unfortunately a guy who passed away in December. Luke Harper, Brody Lee, whatever you want to call him. I talked in one of my previous videos about how much I loved meeting. I met him at 3 different WrestleManias, and he was actually the very last person I met at WrestleMania Axxess in New York. He was wearing a shirt from Wayne's World, and I've talked about that before, but so nice. It's such a fucking shame that he had to die so young. But, you know, it's obvious I'm not the only one who loves him. He's one of only, like, 3 wrestlers that have ever passed that I've never heard anybody say a negative word about, and the other 2 are Eddie Guerrero and Owen Hart, so he's obviously in pretty good company with the kind of man that he was. I'm going to miss him, and, you know, thoughts to his family, and, you know, join Dark Order. Number 3 was also in New York. It's a guy that I've really respected for a very, very, very long time. It was in probably his best run in WWE was when he was the Planet champion, Daniel Bryan. I've talked about AIW before. I talk about AIW a lot on this channel because, to me, it's the best independent promotion in the United States. But it's amazing the amount of the WWE roster that has come through AIW at some point in time. This is off the top of my head. AJ Styles has wrestled there. Kevin Owens, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Daniel Bryan. I think Luke Harper wrestled there once. Sarah Logan, Ruby Riott. I mean, I could just keep going. Cesaro, Chris Hero wrestled there. I could just keep going and going, but I had a DVD where he wrestled Johnny Gargano in a 30-minute Iron Man match. And I go up to him, and he's wearing a shirt that said "Talk Vegan" to me. You can see it on my Facebook page. Couldn't have been a nicer person. I'm so glad that I was able to get the VIP. One of the matches, he wrestled Gargano twice. He wrestled twice for AIW, wrestled Gargano both times. The first time he wrestled him was before he got signed, and then the second time was after he had been released following the Nicest debut. But the first time he wrestled Gargano, he wrestled for like 20 minutes. They wrestled for like 25, 26 minutes. For 20 minutes of the match, he wrestled with his ass out. Like his tights were pulled down, and his ass was hanging out. So he signs my DVD. I get my picture. I shake his hand. I start walking away, and he calls me back. He goes, hey, come back here for a minute. I'm like, oh, did I do something to offend him? He goes, let me see that DVD. And he looks at it, and he looks at the back. He goes, is this the one where I wrestled with my ass out for 20 minutes? It's amazing that he remembered that. And I go, no, that's another one. I did, Johnny's not on the cover of that one. He goes, oh, okay, I get it. Hey, thanks for coming to WrestleMania. I'm like, only in professional wrestling is that a normal conversation. Be like, hey, is that the DVD where I wrestled with my ass out for a half hour? But yeah, great guy. I'm glad he's going to, he's getting himself set up for after he's done wrestling. What the success he's had couldn't happen to a nicer person. Number 2 is actually the first person I ever met at a WWE WrestleMania Axxess, and it was in New Orleans, the first time at WrestleMania 30, Damian Sandow. Nice guy, but what endeared him to me was the fact my sister has 2 favorite wrestlers of all time. One is Elias, and one is Damian Sandow. Why? I don't really know, but those are her 2 favorites. I got to meet Elias in 35. And, he, said, tell your sister hello and tell her to walk with Elias. But I said, in lieu of I didn't actually get a picture with Sandow because as he was signing my thing, I'm like, Mr. Sandow, instead of my picture, my sister absolutely loves you. You are her favorite. Could you just please tell her that she's welcome? And he looks up, he says, what's your sister's name? I tell him, he goes, Sarah, you're welcome. He didn't have to do that. So he will forever be in my good graces for that, because it's something he didn't have to do, and my sister still has it on her phone to this day. So yeah, that's why he's near and dear to me. And then number one was in Dallas at WrestleMania 32. This might surprise some people just because of the character he plays on television. When I was growing up, I never wanted to be The Rock. I never wanted to be Steve Austin. I never wanted to be Triple H. I didn't want to be any of those guys. I wanted to be this guy. I wanted to be Paul Heyman. That's who I wanted to be. Was Paul Heyman. And I saw he was signing in Dallas. I'm like, if it's the only person I meet during this session, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to find out where he is, and I'm going to park my ass there. And I actually got lucky. I was actually, if you've ever been to Axxess, you know how it works. If not, like, let's say, like, the front of your screen is where the person's signing. Then there's, like, loops of, like, those things that you hook on to make lines. I was in the second loop, so I was actually fairly close. And they're really trying to rush people through, for lack of a better word. Because his line was fucking gigantic. I think there were like 10 loops, like boom, 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 10 of them. Those were full, and then there were people outside hoping to maybe get in. But I had my Blu-ray copy of Ladies and Gentlemen, My Name is Paul Heyman, his documentary DVD or Blu-ray, whatever the fuck you want to call it. So I get up there, I put it down. As he's signing it, I tell him, Mr. Heyman, growing up, I never wanted to be, Brock. I never wanted to be Rock. I never wanted to be Steve Austin. I wanted to be you. And he looked at me and he goes, why? I'm just a short, fat Jewish guy. But, excuse me. But he said, that really meant a lot. He said he doesn't hear that a whole lot. And then he signed my thing, and I was getting ready for my picture, and they were trying to take my picture before he handed me my Blu-ray. He goes, hold on. You know how he talks. Hold on. Let him hold the damn thing. So he held up so they would let me hold my DVD and my picture. Like I said, he's my favorite, wrestling personality of all time. I still want to be Paul Heyman. But yeah, so he was, I know that might surprise some people just because of the character he plays, but he's actually a really nice person. But yeah, so those were my top 9 nicest wrestlers I've met at WrestleMania Axxess. Next year in Dallas, I hope to add quite a few more. But, that's a year away, so I'm just starting to bide my time watching Mania vlogs from previous years from people I really like the Lorenzo brothers and Big Time Breaks and Main Mark Murph and this WWE fan. Go check all those people out. I would add their things down below, but I don't really know how to do that because I just don't. But I appreciate everybody watching, like always. Anytime somebody takes the time to watch something that I do, it really means a lot. And I'll see you guys next time.